I'm Dr. Emily. For more than 35 years, I've walked alongside thousands of patients with type 1 and type 2 diabetes across the United States. And there's something I've been thinking about for a long time. Have we been a little too hard on sweetness? Have you ever felt that way? The moment you hear the word sugar, guilt kicks in. Sweet fruits? Off the list. A spoon of honey? No way. A ripe, juicy mango? Just looking at it makes you anxious. But then one day I met a special patient. She was a retired schoolteacher living in Arizona. At 67, she had spent years on extreme diets, to the point where she couldn't sleep, was constantly anxious, and even developed mild depression, all from fearing her blood sugar would spike. And you know what made me rethink everything? She started going back to the fruits her mother used to grow in their garden. Real, whole, natural fruit. And just a few months later, not only was her blood sugar more stable, she was happier. She slept better. She smiled more. So I dug into the research again, and to my surprise, certain fruits, yes, even the sweet ones, are packed with natural compounds that reduce inflammation, calm the nervous system, and even help improve insulin sensitivity. They're not the enemy we once believed, if we know how to eat them right. In fact, they can become powerful allies, gentle, healing companions on our journey to wellness. And today, I want to share with you 4 natural fruits, along with 1 essential oil, that made not only my patients, but even me, a doctor, completely change the way we think. Stick with me. Because maybe, just maybe, the thing you've been avoiding all this time is exactly what your body has been quietly asking for. If there's one fruit that's always been quietly present in our lives, like an old friend who never really leaves, it's the apple. I like to call it the timeless fruit. It doesn't need fancy marketing. It doesn't shout for attention. But every time you eat an apple, you're giving your body a quiet, meaningful gift. Especially when you eat it with the skin on. That's where the good stuff lives. The skin is rich in pectin, a natural fiber that slows down how fast glucose gets absorbed into your bloodstream. It works gently but effectively, keeping those post-meal sugar spikes at bay. One of my patients, Harold, 62 years old, once told me, "I didn't really change anything major in my diet. I just added 1 apple at lunch every day. Organic red apples with a few almonds. After 3 months, my doctor told me my post-meal blood sugar had dropped significantly. And you know what, Doc? I've been sleeping better too." You could try it for yourself. 1 crisp red apple, not too ripe, still with that satisfying crunch. Eat it slowly, mindfully, without rushing. And if you pair it with a spoonful of almond butter, or a few walnuts, you might just feel something shift. Your body no longer riding that roller coaster of ups and downs. Your energy feels steady. And your mind? A little calmer, a little clearer. I often tell my patients, you don't need to fight your illness. Start by befriending your food, especially the foods that have nourished people for hundreds of years. And the humble apple, just as it is, might be the gentle beginning of a lasting healing change. There are some things in life, sweet, but never overwhelming, gentle, but deeply nourishing, just like cantaloupe. I remember visiting an elderly patient in Florida many years ago. She welcomed me with a small bowl of chilled cantaloupe, sprinkled with a bit of cinnamon and a few mint leaves. I asked, "Why do you eat this every morning?" She smiled softly and said, "I don't really know how to explain it, doctor. But since I started eating it, my stomach feels lighter. My hands and feet don't swell as much, and I don't crave sugary snacks like I used to." And honestly, what she said made perfect sense, even medically. Cantaloupe, also known as muskmelon, is made up of almost 90% water. But not just plain water. It's packed with electrolytes, gentle fiber, and plant compounds that help soothe the digestive system and reduce that silent inflammation we often don't realize is building up, especially after age 60. Have you ever felt that way? A bit bloated after dinner, waking up with puffy eyes, or sometimes just a general heaviness you can't quite explain? A small bowl of cantaloupe in the morning, no added sugar, nothing fancy, might be just what your body's been quietly asking for. And if you add a little cinnamon for balancing glucose, and a few mint leaves for cooling the liver and calming the nerves, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say, sweetness can be gentle. Not loud, not spiking your blood sugar, but instead nourishing you, quietly, from within. You know, sometimes nature gives us tiny things, but their power is anything but small. I'm talking about berries, those little jewels of the earth. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. They don't just look beautiful, they are scientifically powerful. These fruits are packed with anthocyanins, a group of antioxidants shown to protect small blood vessels and, more importantly, improve insulin sensitivity. What does that mean for you? It means your body can handle sugar better, with less stress, less fat storage, especially around the belly. I often ask my patients, what if you could take care of your heart, your eyes, and your kidneys without taking another pill? Many are surprised when I say, start with a berry smoothie. My favorite recipe is so simple: fresh strawberries, chia seeds, and unsweetened almond milk. Takes just 2 minutes to make, but it can help stabilize your blood sugar for hours. There was an older gentleman I met in Texas. He was 71. After starting this little morning habit, he told me, "Doc, I don't need those breakfast donuts anymore. I still feel happy, still have energy, but I'm not crashing after eating like I used to." Have you ever noticed that too? When we choose something gentle and natural, our body responds with peace, not overly full, not still hungry, not sluggish, just steady. And for people living with diabetes, that's everything. Now, there are some fruits that aren't loud or flashy, so sometimes we forget they were even there. Plums are one of them. I remember my grandmother. She lived in rural California. Every summer she would stew plums with a little cinnamon and a few drops of lemon juice. She used to tell me, "Eat this before bed, you'll sleep better, no more leg cramps." I didn't understand why back then, but now as a doctor I understand completely. Fresh plums, especially when they're still firm, not overripe, are kind to the body. They're full of polyphenols, natural plant compounds that reduce inflammation, soothe the nervous system, and more importantly, help lower blood sugar naturally after meals. Plums also contain soluble fiber, gentle on the gut, helping things move along, which becomes more and more important after 60 when digestion slows down. Have you ever been woken up at night by a sudden leg cramp? That sharp pain in the calf at 2 a.m. So many of my older patients deal with that. And surprisingly, adding foods rich in potassium and magnesium, like fresh plums, can make a real difference. One lovely patient of mine, 75 years old, living alone, called me after 3 weeks of having stewed plums every evening. She said, "Dr. Emily, I don't wake up from leg cramps anymore, and I sleep deeper too. My plums are like natural sleeping pills." You can try it. Stewed plums with cinnamon and a few drops of lemon juice. No sugar needed. Because the gentle sweetness, the warmth of cinnamon, and the bright little tang of lemon, They come together in a way that feels comforting. And sometimes what we need isn't a trendy new dish, but a return to the familiar, the simple, the deeply rooted. I know when you hear the word essential oil, you might instantly think of spas, relaxation, pleasant scents. But few people realize that just a few drops can actually support blood sugar balance in a remarkable way. I'm talking about pure cinnamon essential oil, extracted from the bark of Ceylon cinnamon, an ancient gift, really, that modern science is only just beginning to fully understand. Its key component is cinnamaldehyde, a natural compound that has been shown to increase insulin sensitivity so your body responds better to sugar, lower fasting blood sugar, something many older adults quietly struggle with. And when used consistently, it can even help lower HbA1c levels, the marker of long-term blood sugar control. One of my former patients, Mr. Walter, he was 68, tried adding just 1 drop of cinnamon essential oil to his warm tea every morning. After a few weeks, he told me, "Not only is my blood sugar more stable, I feel warmer, lighter, and more alert. It's like my body wakes up differently." Personally, I love diffusing cinnamon oil in my bedroom about 15 minutes before bed. It creates this deep warmth in the room, like being wrapped in something ancient and safe. And if you prefer applying it to the skin, 6 drops of cinnamon essential oil mixed with 10 milliliters of cold-pressed coconut oil used to gently massage the soles of the feet, ankles, or the mid-belly area where your pancreas rests, can be a wonderful addition to your routine. But please remember this: only use pure Ceylon cinnamon essential oil. Always dilute it before applying. Never take it internally, because it's highly concentrated and can cause burning or irritation if used incorrectly. I always say, essential oils are like ancient wisdom, tiny but powerful. If you know how to listen, they'll show you how to heal, gently but deeply. You see, stability doesn't have to come from something complicated. Sometimes it's just a crisp apple, a bowl of melon, a handful of berries, a stewed plum, and a single drop of cinnamon. Your body knows how to heal if you know how to listen. My dear friend, there's something I want you to remember. Healing doesn't have to be complicated. It's not about strict rules or harsh diets. It begins with small, steady, loving choices made each day. A crisp apple at midday. A cool bowl of cantaloupe to soothe your belly and calm your mind. A vibrant berry smoothie, bursting with life and colour. A few tender slices of stewed plum after dinner, like a lullaby for your sleep. And a single drop of cinnamon essential oil in your warm morning tea, like a gentle greeting to your body. This isn't dieting, it's the art of self-care. Simple, natural, and deeply human. If something in this video touched you today, if you found yourself nodding or smiling just a little, then please hit like and subscribe to Healthy Healing Roots so we can keep walking this healing journey together. And one more thing, leave a comment below with the word cinnamon, or share the name of your favourite fruit. Because who knows, you might inspire someone else to begin their own gentle change. Today, you are not alone. And this path of natural healing, of living consciously, of listening deeply to your own body, is always a path worth walking.